Good Friday morning to you. I am Terri Bowen, and I want to talk to you a little bit today about balance. Last night I stayed up entirely too late and I watched Rachel Maddow, and she interviewed Mary Trump, and they talked about Mary's book that will be coming out and how it sold close to 1 million copies. But I watched it at 7, and then again I watched it at 10, and for me it was troubling. It shed a lot of light, light that was not unsurprising, but it shed a lot of light on who the president is. And I went to bed feeling troubled, and I didn't sleep well, and I woke up this morning kind of grouchy. I just woke up on the wrong side of the bed, and I realized this morning that it is so important for me to have balance, that when I take a deep dive into something that is that troubling, I have to have something on the other side to bring me out of that funk. And that's where spiritual practices came in. Many of you already know my spiritual practices. I pray, I walk the labyrinth at church. If not at church, I printed out the home one, and I've done that one at home. I garden, I spend time with my grandbabies, I read, I crochet, I do puzzles. Those are all spiritual practices. It's what makes me come alive and what makes me feel connected, not only to myself, but to the earth, to the world around me. It's what helps me feel connected to others, and most importantly, it's what helps me feel connected to God. This morning, I watched a video on Facebook by Dr. Bertice Berry, and I just was introduced to her this morning, and she talked about how she received news in 1977 that the king of rock and roll had died, but she thought that that was Chuck Berry, and because no, it was Little Richard, because that's what her world was. And she talked in this video about when you dive deeper into a subject, to make sure that you look at the beauty of all of the issues of racism. You don't just look at the atrocities. And Dr. Otis Moss talked to us a little bit about that too, about the genius of Black people who built this country. So I'm going to share Dr. Bertice Berry's video with you because it was so inspiring to me this morning. And my spiritual practice for the day is I am going to dive into Black music, as she called it, and I am going to listen and enjoy and learn about the culture. So I'd like you to think about what your spiritual practices are going to be while we're in this pandemic, so that when news comes forward and the election gets more intense, how are you going to stay grounded, and how are you going to come alive? So that's all I want to share. I hope you have a good day and a good weekend, and I will see you in worship. Bye.